Let's see.
Good
Oh,
morning, teacher.
good morning. Good morning. Um, Interesting little fact. It's 11 o'clock here in the morning. What time is it there where you are?
8:30
8:30.
a.m.
So you're earlier than I am. Okay. Well, um, we've gotten here to South Korea, Dave and I, and this is the apartment that we stayed in before, so you'll recognize eventually the background. Um, and yesterday was beautiful, and then I thought, oh, it'll be such a pretty picture. And today, the fog rolled in. The fog rolled in. The rain came down. And so we just work through it, right? So we have talked a lot in the past about different idioms related to weather and related to travel and related to colors and so on. So as Dave and I were coming to South Korea, we came by a ship. So instead of flying like 15 hours or maybe a total of 18 hours or something like that, which is pretty tough. Because when we get here, we have like days of jet lag. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if you've been around and you've flown different places, especially outside of um, Southeastern Asia. So all of a sudden you get, whoa, my mind is kind of not working so good. So in this situation, it was a gentle time change because the time changed an hour maybe each day. One day it was a little bit jarring, but for the most part, it was an hour. And so we got here and we've worked through the jet lag and we can play with children really quick. So that was a really good thing. So today we're going to do idioms related to nautical or things related to the sea and ships and sailing and so on. We're going to do idioms related to the nautical or the travel by sea. And good morning, Cece and Sarah. Welcome. And I hope you have enjoyed learning some new applications with TN while I've been gone. And let's see. So let's see here. All right. And what I'm going to do is, all right. We have a couple of review slides like we usually do. And I will start with Cece. No, I'm sorry. Start with Theta. Go ahead and read this first one.
Yes. What is an idiom? What type of a phrase is an idiom phrase? It is not literal. An idiom phrase cannot be figured out from finding each word's definition. The meaning is figurative. The phrase paints a picture or tells a story. How old are idioms? Where do idioms come from? The Bible, Shakespeare, and other writers. Sports. Proverb hard over the century. Rhymes. How old are idioms? Many are Asian, repeated over and over and have changed over many years.
Okay. So these are all aspects of idioms that we've talked about before. Just in a review so that we keep our mind. This is not a literal phrase. And Heyun, would you read this one?
What is an idiom? Are idioms only found in American English? No, every language has them to some extent. One theory is that America is a melting pot of people. So we have inherited and shared idioms from all over the world. Is it easy to learn idioms? Not usually, but it's fun. Getting a familiarity and idioms, then using your favorites in conversation will help in getting comfortable.
Okay, thank you, Hayun. The next one, Iris, are you there?
Yes, teacher. The use of idioms in conversation is one of the hallmarks of language fluency.
Okay, so remember that the reason we are studying this together is to prepare you for an exam that you would need to take. Most often, you'll have to take an English fluency exam, the TOEFL, before entrance into an English-speaking university. So especially in America, that exam is the TOEFL exam. And in other countries, they have another exam as well. But they want to make sure that you'll be able to interact with the professor, interact and do the projects and so forth. The TOEFL exam has several sections, and you've probably got, you might have a TOEFL review book. They don't necessarily have a section called idioms. Idioms are in all of the different sections to some extent. So the idioms you'll see are embedded in that section. So they'll show up and you'll hear them in the spoken or listening section. You'll see them in the reading or the conversation where they have a conversation and then you have to do some reading comprehension. They'll be embedded there. But we're just reviewing these. How you choose to do and what you choose to do with this information certainly is up to you. My understanding is that once it's on Facebook, you can go back and you can review that information again and probably even fast forward. So let's go to the next one. This is my ship. I was on that ship a few days ago. Let's see, I was right around here in this section around here. Anyway, Sarah, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Travel over water. Cruising has become more popular as cruise lines all over the world are providing ships that are increasingly safe and make seeing multiple places easier. Idioms related to sailing, voyages are numerous and go back centuries. Travel
Yes.
by ships goes back to the ancients and provides a view of history. Travel by ship is a viable
Yes.
alternative to flying. If you have the time, it is a much more enjoyable mode of travel. Thank you.
Usually, thank you, Sarah. So in some cases, the ship can be traveling through very rough waters. For that, there are some people who are very sensitive to seasickness. So obviously it's hard for them. But for us, the cost of coming here was roughly the same as flying. Now, not exactly the same, but we also figured that we had less jet lag and so forth, and that was worth something to us. Okay, the next one, let's start with Lynn. Would you like to read this slide?
Yes, teacher. Good overbroad, meaning doing something to excess, not necessarily in a good way. Origin in it, not
This
to
is
get
a nautical, yes.
not, not to get expression from the 60s, but didn't come into use as a figurative expression until the 20th century. Example, I have a tendency to go overboard with my job. I am extremely passionate about my work.
So now what I'm gonna do, maybe for the next few lessons, is we'll have a review of those vocabulary that's attached to that. Oh, let me close this. Sorry, they're doing construction downstairs and let's see, we don't want that to interfere. Okay, let's see. I think Swam is with us, right? Swam, are you there?
Yes.
Would you like to read this? Let me, what is that doing here? Hold on a minute. Okay, go ahead and read this one.
Vocabulary review nautical relating to sea vessels, navigation, sailing, and sailors.
Good.
Overboard, the ship into the water. Application. Betty took a cruise. To prepare, she learned the full plan of the ship and the nautical language that the staff and crew will be using.
Yes.
Where we were on the ship, there were many signs encouraging us to use the trash cans provided and not to throw trash overboard.
Yes.
The use of nautical language is precise to make it clear to all crew and staff where and what to do in emergency.
So the language that they use for location and for type of situation helps all the staff, all the crew to know what's going on so that they don't have to go and talk a long time about where and what's going on. Like, remember when we were talking about the idioms of baseball, remember that the announcer on the radio would use a short phrase to talk about an entire play or a part of the play so that he could talk very quickly, very fast and let everybody know what was going on. And so that short phrase would tell the whole story. This is a similar application, and there's lists and lists and long books about nautical language. An interesting application here is that if you look at sailors, and I mean sailing in a sailboat, not a cruise ship, not a cargo ship, a sailboat. A sailboat team or crew often participate in races. So under the captain, the crew is moving the sails in different ways, depending on where they go and the maze that they follow. So they have to, the crew has to respond, bali bali, quick, quick, to move the sail and position the sailboat to go through this maze and follow this course. So when they're in a race, they've practiced for a very long time to be almost synchronized like a dance. Anyway, it's an interesting thing to watch a sailing competition when it's covered on TV. If you get that chance, it's very interesting. We are going to go look at the video on, hold on, I'm trying to get there. This is a little bit different because I'm not at home. So I apologize. It's not quite as smooth. Okay, here we go. This is going overboard.
Welcome to English in a Minute from home. When a person on a boat goes overboard, they fall into the water. Uh-oh, should we be worried about Jonathan and Anna?
What all did you get at the store?
Mayo, olive oil, rice, and coffee.
You know, Anna, you didn't have to go overboard with the supplies. This crisis isn't going to last forever.
To go overboard means to do or say too much because you are overly excited. Anna bought a lot of stuff at the store. In other words, she went overboard. For Anna, that's not too surprising. And that's English.
And there you go. So let's go back to, that was going overboard. Now, I don't know. So that obviously, well, maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. That was recorded in 2020. So 2020, the year of the pandemic. Remember, people were going overboard, right? In my neighborhood, people were buying boxes of toilet paper, boxes of paper towels, cases of, sanitizing wipes and so on. And so they left the shelves empty for everybody else. Well, we realized that that wasn't going to work. So stores put limits on that. So people could not go overboard and buy, all the supplies for themselves. Okay, the next one is run a tight ship. And let's see, how about, did I see Andy on there?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to read this one?
Yes, run a tight ship, meaning keeping the organization working together as a team to get the best use out of the resources given. Origin came into use around the mid-19th century relating to keeping the ropes tight so the sails would catch and hold the wind energy to power the ship. Example, Captain Niels runs a tight ship. The team has been together for years and new staff want to work for him. There are enough staff and they know how to work together quickly and easily in an emergency.
Very good. So running a tight ship started with sailboats. And if you saw maybe the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, you saw that they had big sails and they used those sails to, the wind would harness that energy and they would move the ship. So anyway, the tight ship meant that the sails were tight and they were tight and the knots were tied in such a way. So there's a whole series of knots that go along with the nautical experience. Okay, the next one, let's see. Cece, what about this one for you? Is Cece still with us? Yeah. Let's see. Let me look and see here. I see Iris. I see Lynn. Hey, Yoon, are you still here? Okay, so Theta, go ahead and read this one.
Miss the boat, meaning miss a bid opportunity. Origin came about in the mid 1700s. Ships were the way to get around. If you miss the boat, you might have to wait for the next sailing, which could be next week or next month. Example, you really missed the boat. He didn't get his application in on time. They awarded numerous scholarships to those whose application came in on a timely fashion. Related saying struck out.
Okay, so this actually has a very unique background, and that is that the boat would sail with the tide. And I think that's still current, okay? All right, I saw Chung. Is that right?
Yes,
Would you like to read this one?
yes. Would I read the blank part or the upper one?
Oh, the whole thing, the
Okay.
whole slide.
Vocabulary review. Next sailing. Next scheduled departure date when the ship leaves the port next. Timely fashion. On time before the deadline. Application. That ship will not return for 1 week. The next sailing is in 8 days. We turned our project in a bit early. The professor appreciated that they were turned in a timely fashion.
Yes.
The owner decided to cancel the next sailing. The ship needed to be repaired.
Yes. So one of our favorite ships is going to go into dry dock. That's what they call it when they take the ship into an area where they're going to repair it, and they've put off sailing for sometimes several weeks, sometimes several months, depending on how many repairs and upgrades they're going to do on that ship. We found it very interesting that the system of scheduling these ships follows a seasonal application. So the ship that we took from America to Japan had been cruising in and around Alaska for the summer, okay? And the ship was going to reposition to Japan and Southeast Asia and cruise in that area. So I want to say that they're cruising around Japan right now, and they will be cruising to Hong Kong, Singapore, and I want to say someplace else, but I can't remember. And then over a period of time, they'll do these multiple trips down in Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, the Philippines, and so on. And then at the end of the season, at the end of the winter, they'll go back to America. They'll go back to Seattle, which is their other, port that they sail from, and they'll do the Alaska trip again. So these cruise ships have 2 different schedules depending on the season. Okay, next one, sail through. Now I saw somebody else join us, and that is Noor. Would you like to read this? Would you like to read
Hello.
instead? Noor, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Would you like to read this slide for us?
Yes, sure.
Good.
Sail through, meaning
Yes.
complete a difficult task easily.
Yes.
Example, Eva sailed through her nursing exams. She always was good at taking tests. Related saying, nail it, hit a home run, passed with the flying colors.
So this would be a very positive compliment. Wow, you sailed through that. Wow, I sailed through that. That was so easy. And so this would be a compliment, like if you were to say to someone, you really hit a home run. Great job. You passed with flying colors. Again, that is a compliment that you make. Now this one, we're going to sink or swim. Let's see who we've got here. Sarah, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Sink or swim, meaning giving no help, so that your success is dependent on your efforts alone. Origin
Right.
appeared in the early 15th century in print in one of Shakespeare's plays, Henry V.
The
If
fourth,
one
Henry the Fourth.
or Henry IV, if one got pushed into the water, chances were that they would sink. First, very few people knew how to swim. Second, they had an enormous amount of clothes that would drag them down. In simple, Ali had to figure out the company software on her own. They left her to sink or swim during orientation. Related saying, do or die. Thank you.
Ah, that's a very interesting one. We'll get to a little bit more of the history of this in just a moment. Next, Lynn, would you like to read this?
Vocabulary abuse. Dependent, requiring someone or something else to give support. Enormous, very large quantity in number, size, or extent. Application, the traditional clothing of the Middle Ages had an enormous amount of
Yes.
layers. We are dependent on our saving to pay for travel. There are an enormous number of different species of fish.
Thank you, Lynn. So now an interesting application. Theda, would you read this for us? Theda, are you there? Okay, Maria, would you like to read this one?
Sink or swim. Background. If you fail at learning to swim, you will sink. Of course, if you succeed, you will swim. A related idiom for managing to success is to keep your head above water. This is related to the act of treading water in a survival technique. There was a cruel and bizarre
Yeah.
ancient practice of throwing a person suspected of being a witch into deep water. The accused were usually women. If the woman sank and drowned, she was innocent. If she floated, then she must have been helped by evil forces, and she was guilty. How to say that?
Let's see, if she floated. The accused were usually women, yes. She was innocent. If she floated, she must have been helped by evil forces, and she was guilty. Geoffrey Chaucer, an English poet. Keep on.
Geoffrey Chaucer, an English poet, used float or sink in his writings in the 1300s.
Yes.
William Shakespeare, the English playwright, used the same phrase, float or sink, in the play Henry the
Fourth.
Ivory.
Fourth. Okay, thank you. Oh, whoa, okay, wait a minute. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. Hold on a minute. Sure. I think, let's see, I'm still getting it back. Hold on a minute. Mm. Okay. Okay. So can you see this again, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Swam, would you like to read this one? The ship has sailed.
Yes, teacher. That ship has sails, meaning missed a bit opportunity. Origin, another phrase with a nautical origin. Before air travel, ships were the choice for long trips. Ships would set sail after the high tide has passed. This gave them the advantage of the tide pool to get out at sea using less power. The ship schedule was based on agreements with ports as well as the rise and fall of the tides. Example, I wanted to go to the concert this weekend, but the ship has sailed. The tickets were sold out months ago. Later sayings, you had your chance.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next one. Who would like to read this one? Let's see, Maria, would you like to read this one? Oh, who said that?
I can read, Chair.
Go ahead.
Square meal, meaning balanced, nutritious meal that is filling and provides the vitamins to keep you healthy. Origin during the 17th century, the term square was used to describe someone who was solid and reliable. In the mid 1800 century, this term was applied to the nautical setting to describe the significant meal, usually the last meal of the day, as it would be eaten off a square-shaped wooden plate that also served as a tray. A decent meal on board became known as a square meal. Example, Bill wants 3 square meals every day. His blood sugar dips and he gets jittery when he does not eat on time.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I think I missed something, so hold on. Did I miss that one? No, I missed this one. Okay. All right, who would like to read this one? Maria, would you like to?
Yes. That ship has sailed, meaning missed a big opportunity. Origin, another phrase with a nautical origin.
Very
Before
good.
air travel, ships were the choice for long trips. Ships would set sail after the high tide has passed. This gives them the advantage of the tide
Oh, we
pull
already
to
read
get
this
out
one.
to sea using less power. The ship schedule was based on agreements with ports as well as a rise and fall of the tides. Example, I wanted to go to the concert this weekend, but the ship has sailed. The tickets were sold out months ago. Related sayings, you had your chance.
Well, I'm sorry, I've gotten all confused and I hope that reading that was helpful. This one, I believe, is the one I missed. Okay, who would like to read this one?
Can I read, teacher?
Yes, Sarah, you may.
Okay, smooth sailing, meaning easy progress without impediment or difficulty.
Very
Origin,
good.
usage dating back to the 30,000s.
1300s. 1300.
1300.
Yes.
Thank you. Smooth sailing was discovered, of course. Medicines was not available to control nausea or seasickness. The
Yes.
benefit from smooth sailing was the base of all situations. Example, the presentation was smooth sailing, no objection from the silent, and the sign on the bottom line, related saying. Thank you.
Okay, what do you think the related saying might be here? Easy as pie. So remember, we've talked about other idioms, and often there's a crossover between one set of idioms and another set of idioms. And so the words, the phrases that they use in one setting, cooking, might cross over to another setting, sports, could cross over to another setting, weather, could cross over into then nautical or horse racing or any of those kind of things. So that's one of the reasons why I try to put related sayings at the bottom. This one, I just forgot to include that one. We'll now go to that short review of a couple of those words. Who would like to read this one? Iris, how about you? Hi, Iris.
Vocabulary review. Impediment, hindrance, or obstruction in completing
Good.
something.
Very good.
Feeling
Nausea.
of sickness, nausea, feeling of sickness with an inclination to vomit.
Inclination. So it's an urge. Inclination.
To vomit.
Right.
Should I read the application one too?
Yes, please.
Bob was working hard to repair his car. Over and over, he had an impediment to getting the repair completed. The parts were hard to find, and he ran out of the different fluids. He ended up running to the auto supply store for 4 times. My friend Robin has issues with Louisa when she goes on a cruise. For the first day or two, she has to wear a patch that the doctor ordered.
Okay, so just for just a moment, let's think about what they used before they had medicine to, an actual drug that's applied now to a patch at the back of your ear. In the long past, they would use things like peppermint. So Now, if you don't need, I mean, if you don't have really horrible nausea and you want to relieve yourself of this nausea, what you can do is drink peppermint tea. So almost every ship that we've gone on has peppermint tea because they know that it will help to relieve nausea without drugs. Okay, do we need more drugs? No, not necessarily. We don't. Obviously, there's some conditions where you want medication, but if you can relieve this nausea with food, it's preferable. Okay, let's talk about another one, ginger. So if you have been with me for some time, you know that we also use ginger and honey with lemon for coughing. We also can use ginger in a tea for nausea and seasickness. Of course, that means you have to either bring it or you have to get it on the ship. We saw that they were offering ginger in a number of dishes as a side, as a side offering on the plate so that we could eat the ginger without having to bring it ourselves. But we actually did bring our own ginger. Anyway, so ginger and peppermint are also things that you can get to help with nausea or seasickness. Peppermint also has been used for centuries to relieve upset tummy, not just nausea, but upset tummy. You'll notice many restaurants offer small peppermint candies after dinner. This is an effort to help your tummy calm down if, in fact, you had an upset. Okay, let's see. We have a couple more to do. Let's see. Lynn, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Learn the ropes, meaning beginning to learn the process that are required to master a job. Origin attributed to new sailors who were learning how to tie the knots that control the ropes holding the sails in place. Example, during orientation, be sure to learn the ropes with Janet. She knows how to get things done and the right people to help you. Later
Right.
saying, catch one's teeth, gets the hang of, tricks of the trade.
Okay, so learning the ropes. I don't know if you've heard of scouting or the Boy Scouts, but the Boy Scouts also teach rope tying or tying the knots. They have a long, long course about different knots. There are knots for putting things together. There are knots in art called macrame. There are knots in the nautical sense for controlling those ropes that held the sails. So learning the ropes could actually take you, as a new sailor, could actually take you a year or more, because not only are you learning the ropes and how to tie those ropes with the knots and so on, you're learning how to control the sails. In orientation to any job, it is the responsibility of the company to help you learn the ropes. So remember back earlier that idiom that we used, sink or swim. When I hire someone, I have to spend a lot of money to bring them to my company, okay? It may not seem like it. Oh yeah, you just go out and say, come to work for me. But in reality, in America, it costs several thousands of dollars to bring on a new employee. So my investment then is already several $1,000s. I want to make sure that that is a successful employee. I don't want to set them out there to sink or swim. I want to get them to the place where they're masterful and doing their job well, right? So I assign them somebody to help them learn the ropes so that we have a good team, okay? All right, so there are a lot of applications here. One of my jobs in the past was to teach new employees in my company that I worked for some years ago. It was my job to teach them the ropes so that they would learn how to manage their job, because we were traveling, we were seeing clients, we were recommending changes for that client to make so that their setting would be safer. So all of these ways we learned the ropes, and this was something that we learned during orientation. In my company, learning the ropes took about a year. And I would say that's pretty typical. Anyway, I've got a couple more of the English in a minute. Let's watch that real quick because let's see if I can get that back. I am not really sure why. Okay, let's try again. We've got English in a minute. Oh, let's do this one. All right. I think this is sink or swim. Let's check it out.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Swimming is a great form of exercise. But what do you think this means?
Sink or swim. How's your new publishing job going, Anna?
Don't get me started. I've had no training. I don't know what to do or how to do it.
Sounds like you've been left to sink or swim.
Yes, Jonathan, and I am sinking. I am sinking.
Sorry.
Imagine being thrown into a body of water. Do you sink or do you start swimming? The expression sink or swim describes a situation in which you either succeed or fail on your own without much help or guidance. And that's English in a minute.
Okay, so that's one of them. Sink or swim. We'll go here on that one. And we'll attempt to find the other one. Hold on. Oh, I guess that was the last one. Never mind. Oh, was this one? All right. I'm still getting used to working with one screen. I hope you're doing well today. Let's see. Can you see me again? All right, okay. Yes, I'm back. Okay. So we have a few more minutes. Tell me how you've been doing in the meantime. Tien said that you reviewed the Duolingo app. Has anybody started using that app? Yes, Theda?
Yes, I have used that app like for 6 months. For
Good.
Japanese. Yeah, because I can learn things there. Yeah.
Okay. And how's it working for you?
It's good because like it repeating every single alphabet and repeating every single phrase, so it's helped me remember more.
Good, good. My husband uses Duolingo. He's learning Korean, as you might imagine. And so he's just working on it, and he's been